Hello everyone, Amud here from the Target Com YouTube channel, and today we are going to learn about wildcard character in generics in Java. So before I go to any definition of wildcard using in generics, I want to show you some examples and then I will explain what is the concept all about. So let me jump to IntelliJ, and here I've already created one class called wildcard unbounded. So why I'm mentioning unbounded we'll understand later. So let me start with a very simple method, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a public and I will have a static because I don't want to create an object of this class to access the method of this class in the main method. So public static, I will simply put void and I will have like print list. So my requirement is very simple. I just want to print the content or elements of a list of any type. It might be a list of integer, it might be a list of string, list of any class, anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do list of object, okay, because object is the superclass of what do you call that, all the classes, correct? So I'm just putting list of objects so that I can put anything inside the list, anything, integer, string, boolean, anything. So it will be a list, and since I just want to print the content of my list, so I will use a for each, and it will be object type, okay, then obj colon list, and simply what I'm going to do is sys out obj. Okay, simple. Let me create a main method, and in this main method I'm going to create a list of object, and I have name it as a list1, and I will add like arrays dot as list, and I will add 1, then 2, then some string, and 1 boolean, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to call the print list method, and I will pass list1. So let me correct the name here. Now let me run the program. So here's the output, and it is as expected. Now let me twist it. So what I'm going to do, instead of list of object, I will do list of integer, because what was my requirement? I want to print the content of a list, right? So we can have a list of integer instead of object, and here I will name it a list2, and this time I just need to pass the integers only, right? We know the concept. We cannot pass the string boolean here because we are creating a list of type integer only. So as list I will pass 1 2 3 4 comma 5. Okay, so let me call the print list method, right? Because print list is accepting one list of object, and I have list of integer, right? So this list of integers we should able to pass it, right? So let me pass it here, this 2, and as soon as you pass it, you see the error. Why? When we are creating the list of object, what is the why we are using the generic type object here? Because so that we can store any type of value in the list, right? Because object class is the superclass of all the types in Java. But why this is not working? Why it is giving the error? If I mouse over on this error, it is showing that required type list of object but provided list of integer. So the problem here, integer is the subtype of your object, okay, but that doesn't mean that list of integer will be subtype of list of object. Okay, then what we can do, we have already learned about generics in Java or type parameter. So can we use t instead of object? Let me try. Let me write t. Okay, and we know that when we are using any type parameter, so we need to declare it, right? So what I need to do, I will simply use the t in the diamond operator here, right? And we can see errors are gone. Now let me print it. Sorry, let me run it. So here you can see it is printing the values easily. So type parameter resolve this issue, right? Now instead of using t, we can use something called wildcard character. So if you have if you know SQL and something, so there also we use the wildcard. Okay, so wildcard in Genix is the question mark. So instead of t, we can use the question mark as well. And when you're using the question mark, there is no need to define this t because we don't know the type here. Okay, we're not declaring any type parameter, we are just writing this one, list of question mark. So this is called actually wildcard. So let me run the program first and let me show the output. So you can see if I use the wildcard character, then also I am able to print the content of the list. So here type parameter also worked and wildcard also worked. Okay, so if we are using t and we are not using bounded type, I have already explained that concept in my previous video. So that is called unbounded type parameter. So similarly, this is also called unbounded wildcard. Okay. So now you might be confused when to use t, when to use t or type parameter, or when to use wildcard. So this actually depends on usage. So what we did actually when I was using t, so you need to declare this t here, correct? Because that is mandatory, otherwise we cannot use the type parameter. But if you are using question mark, so there is no need to use this declaration here. Okay. So another example where you can use the type parameter or wildcard. Suppose, let me go and overload this method. Okay. So suppose I have a list here and I will have a t. So let me define the type parameter here, and suppose I have another parameter and that will be t item. Okay, so here what I can do, I can use list dot add item. Okay, it is proper here, it is not giving any error. But suppose if the same thing I write using the wildcard, means I will just remove this one. Okay, and let me use the wildcard. Can I sorry, question mark here, can I use the question mark instead of t here? Let me try. So it started giving me error because this is not a valid thing. Okay, this is not a valid declaration. Okay, so in this case also you cannot use the wildcard here. Okay, if you're using with the any collection thing, so you can use the wildcard, but like this you cannot use. Okay. Okay, so what do we need to do in this case? You can use mix also. Mix means you can use the wildcard as well and you can use the type parameter as well, like this. Okay, but you can see here it is giving the error. It is not allowing you to add the item to the list of type with the wildcard, because we are not sure what will the type here. That's why list is not allowing you to add the item. But suppose if the same thing we replace using the t, we can add this item, right? But let me show you one thing. What will happen if I go list dot add and I will try to add 1, or list dot add, I will try to add some string. So it is giving the error because we are trying to add integer and string to the list of type t, but here compiler doesn't know that what is the list, what is the type of list. Okay, what t stands for. That's why it is not allowing to add anything here, but here it is allowing because here we are mentioning that item is the type of t, which is the same for the list of t here. That's why it is allowing you. But we can also add null. If you want, we can add null. Okay, it will be allowed. Okay, but not this integer or string. So Java doc explains 2 points where we can use the unbounded wildcard. So first point here, Like if you are writing a method that can be implemented using functionality provided in the object class. So when we are using the type parameter, so we provide the type when we create an object or when we are calling the method and all, right? So that only we can use some methods of that particular classes. But suppose if you are not concerned about what type or which class method we can use, and you just want to use the method defined in the object class, then you can use the wildcard unbounded character. Okay. Another point, it says that when the code is using methods in the generic class that don't depend on the type parameter, for example list.size or list.clear, because these two methods, if you see, it doesn't matter what type of list you are using. Okay. In fact, class of question mark or wildcard character here is so often used because most of the methods in class of T do not depend on T. For example, let me show you an example here. Let me jump to IntelliJ where I've created one class called wildcard unbounded usage. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a generic class. I'm using the type parameter here. Correct? So let me do something like I will create a variable of type T. We can do, right? And then I'm going to use create one method like public, and this method will simply return the type. It will be like return value. Okay, and it will take a value of type T again. And here what I'm going to do, simple, like I will simply assign value to var and I will simply return var. Okay, so whatever type parameter I'm using, same thing I'm using inside the class and the method, right? Let me go and create, or let me copy this method from here and paste it here. So we need to remove the static here because we cannot use the static. And let me show you what I was saying. Suppose if I use the T here instead of wildcard character, so it will give me the error, right? Why? Because this method I created is static. So static members of a class is loaded when class is loaded in the memory. Okay, so it cannot have this in the memory until unless we create an object of this class, because T is undefined. That's why it is not allowing me to create a static member here, a static method here. So let me remove the static, and you can see I'm using the T here, right? And let me change the T again. Okay, let me create a main method. What I'm going to do, I am going to create an object of this generic class of type integer. Okay, I have already covered this concept. Maybe w1 equal to new wildcard, right? Let me call the first method, that is return value. So I need to pass 10 because integer will replace all the t's here, right? And it is returning the same type, so I need to store into integer or int. Okay, and I can print this out. So here's the expected output. I simply made one mistake. I am assigning this value, whatever is passed from here, to this variable, and then I am printing it here, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a list of string. Okay, and I will use list of arrays as list, and I will pass something like my name and some other's name. Okay, so what I'm going to do, w1 dot print list. If I pass this list 1, we can see it is giving me error. Why? Because when you are initializing this object, this class, with the integer, so this is also asking you to pass me list of integer only, right? But what we have created here, list of string, that's why it is giving you the error, that I'm expecting that list of string, sorry, list of integer, but you are passing list of string. Okay, we have already seen the similar example previously. Okay, so if you see carefully this method, so there's no need to have anything like specifically t here, we can use wildcard here so that it can support or it can accept any kind of list. So instead of t, I will simply use object. Okay, and I can run the program. Okay, so here's the output. So wherever, if you think that method doesn't require the type parameter defined for the class level and all, so you can go and use the wildcard character, which is explained by second point here. Okay, so still you have any doubt, please comment on this video. If you really like my videos, please like, comment, subscribe and share with others. Thank you everyone.